Lady Aisha, the third wife of the Prophet Muhammad. Rumors were spread about her age at the time of her marriage to the Prophet, with those who oppose Islam accusing him of being a child abuser. Some hypocrites and ignorant Muslims tried to affirm this to give them an excuse to abuse children in the name of religion, or because they were unable to criticize Bukhari, who narrated from Hisham bin Urwah a questionable report. Bukhari is not the Quran. It is a book written by a human and may contain errors. Bukhari and Muslim mentioned that Lady Aisha was 9 years old at the time of her marriage. Bukhari was a non-Arab who did not speak Arabic and collected the Hadiths more than 200 years after the Prophet's death. Muslim, a student of Bukhari, was also a non-Arab and Iranian and did not speak Arabic either. These books were transmitted through their students, so there could have been errors, as human-made works are prone to mistakes. Imam Malik's Muwatta, which was compiled around 100 years before Bukhari, does not mention the age of Lady Aisha's marriage. So how is it possible that Imam Malik, an Arab who spoke Arabic and lived in Medina, did not mention Lady Aisha's age when Bukhari, a non-Arab who did not speak Arabic, did so 100 years later? This indicates that the report is not reliable. It is possible that Bukhari or his students made an error, and enemies of Islam, hypocrites, and ignorant Muslims who sought to justify child abuse in the name of religion have exploited this unreliable narrative. But both Allah and the Prophet Muhammad are innocent of these accusations, and the evidence for this is: 1. Lady Aisha was previously engaged to Jubair bin Mut'im before the Prophet. How could she have been engaged to him before the Prophet if she had not been born yet? As some claim, she was born 6 years after the advent of Islam. This is false. Aisha was engaged to Jubair before Islam, and when her parents converted to Islam, her father, Abu Bakr, asked Jubair if he would convert to Islam to marry her. He refused, and the engagement was broken off. He later converted to Islam years afterward. 2. Lady Aisha said that she remembered the first migration to Abyssinia, which took place in the 5th year of the Islamic call. This shows that she was mentally capable and understood what was happening, contrary to the claim that she was just a 1-year-old child. How could a 1-year-old child remember the migration to Abyssinia? The claim about her age being 9 comes from Hisham bin Urwah, who reported it from his father. However, Hisham was suffering from memory loss at the time, and his reports were unreliable. After the death of Lady Khadija, Khala bint Hakim proposed marriage to the Prophet and suggested Aisha, a virgin, or Sauda, a widow. If Aisha had been 4 years old, as they claim, how could Khala have offered her as a bride to the Prophet? This indicates that Aisha was an adult, mature enough to be considered for marriage. Lady Aisha's sister, Asma bint Abu Bakr, was reportedly born 27 years before the Hijrah. There was no birth registration system back then, so these are approximate figures. Since the Prophet spent 13 years in Mecca after the revelation, Asma would have been about 14 years old before the Hijrah. If Asma was 10 or 7 years older than Aisha, this means that Aisha was either 7 or 10 years old before Islam, and 19 or 22 years old when she married the Prophet. The Prophet married Aisha in Medina, 13 years after the revelation, and in the 2nd year of the Hijrah. Therefore, she was certainly over 18 years old when she married. No one knows her exact age, but estimates range from 18 to 22 years. In Islam, for a marriage to be valid, certain conditions must be met. 1. Both the man and woman must have reached puberty. 2. Both must consent to the marriage. 3. There must be witnesses to the marriage contract. 4. The marriage must be publicly announced. If Lady Aisha were a child, why would she have agreed to marry? Why did her parents agree to the marriage? Why was she previously engaged to a non-Muslim man before his conversion? Why was there no public criticism from the Quraysh who opposed the Prophet and were looking for any excuse to attack him? The answer is that she was not a child, but a mature adult woman. If Aisha were truly a child, why did she never ask for a divorce after marriage? There is even a Quranic verse, Surah Al-Ahzab, verses 28 to 29, that allowed the Prophet's wives to choose between staying with him or leaving if they desired the worldly life. All the Prophet's wives chose to remain with him, even though they lived a simple life, sometimes with minimal food. After the Prophet's death, Lady Aisha did not speak ill of him, nor did she claim she was forced into marriage. On the contrary, she expressed her deep love for him and described his good treatment of her. She also transmitted more than 2,000 hadiths. Hypocrites and weak Muslims refuse to acknowledge that Bukhari may have made mistakes or transmitted false reports. They instead accuse the Prophet of marrying a young child, using this as a pretext for child abuse in the name of Islam. But Islam and the Prophet are innocent of such accusations. Why did the Prophet marry Aisha? 1. It was a command from Allah. 2. She was known for her intelligence, quick understanding, and memory, and she became one of the greatest scholars of Islam, teaching the companions about the Prophet's ethics, his actions, and Islamic jurisprudence, including the ways of purification and ritual washing.